I'm all for weird games, but this one was pretty weird. Of course, I'm talking about the Stranger Things game. No? Yeah, wrong game. We're not talking about that. We're talking about Control. Now, if you've never seen or heard of Control, this game is made by Remedy Studios, which is also responsible for games such as Alan Wake and Max Payne, very well known and popular titles. Hi, my name is Sir UD, and as a kid who enjoys playing a variety of games and talking about my experiences with each of these games. Now, going into this game, I knew that there would be some cool and even some unique powers, but I don't even think I realized what I was signing myself up for. We begin with Jesse Faden, our main character who, for the past 17 years, has been looking for her long-lost brother. Jessie recently found a building where she believes her brother has been kept in, the old house, otherwise known as the Federal Bureau of Control, or the FBC. She didn't find this place on her own, however. It was more like something was calling her there. Something we'll discuss later. Anyways, Jessie makes her way inside and finds a nice man named Ati, the janitor. He seems like a pretty nice guy who's honestly just trying to do his job and is planning on going vacation soon. However, when you approach him, he informs you that he's been expecting you for a while. With him expecting you, he decides to send you up to the director's office. This was the first sign that I knew that this game was gonna get pretty weird, because how the fuck did he know that I was gonna be here when it just seems like I just showed up out of the blue? Anyways, we make our way up to the office. As soon as we get there, Jessie hears a loud and obvious bang. You know, the type where maybe you should just not investigate and walk away. But of course, we go and investigate to find the director. Let's just say he's very much not alive. We go towards the weapon that we assume he used to do the deed. As we pick up the weapon, a weird slideshow starts to play, and you are told that this weapon is called the service weapon. This weapon is also known as one of the many different objects of power. These objects have unique capabilities, like the service weapon being able to change shape or form. As soon as we pick up the object of power, we get flashes from this weird alien pyramid thing that is called the board. As the board is speaking to you in some sort of language, similar to the ones that the adults from Charlie Brown use, you find out that you are being appointed as the new director. They put you in this weird kind of astral plane, aka the tutorial area for new abilities that you'll get later, in order to test your capabilities to become the new director, which you pass. Duh, because we're such a good gamer, of course I would pass. Eventually, you make your way around the bureau to find your assistant. She informs you that this alien presence has been infecting different members of the bureau who aren't wearing the special device known as the HRA, or Hadron Resonance Amplifiers. Jessie nicknames this weird infection as the hiss, mainly based on the noise that they make. She decides to go along with being the director and helping out the bureau in order to find some information on her brother. At this point of the game, Jessie keeps referring to this thing that seems to be in her head. She refers to it as you, as in it being a person almost. Kinda weird, and whenever you get to these points, she starts talking like a narrator from a book. I wonder what that's about. Anyway, this weird thing is known as Polaris. You'll learn more about it throughout the game, so we're not going to talk about it right now, but put it lightly, it's this thing that's in your subconscious that is helping you. Anyways, you go through helping the bureau, meeting new characters who give you little bits and pieces to move the story along, but not substantial enough for me to really explain everything here. Eventually, we make our way to the research area, looking for Helen Marshall, the first character who actually gives us some sort of information on our brother. Helen reveals that both Jesse and Dylan were candidates picked out by the Bureau to be future directors. Let's just say Dylan kind of got fed up and became a bit of a psycho, and so they imprisoned him in the containment sector, which gets all messed up due to the Hiss invasion. But luckily for us, our brother turns himself in, like a good little boy he is. Anyways, it becomes pretty clear right away that Dylan was not Dylan. Well, at least the Dylan that we knew he was. He has been affected by the Hiss. Now, this is where we really start to get answers. Dylan reveals to us about the Hiss coming through an object known as the slide projector. Essentially, the slide projector is a gateway of sorts. Each different slide has its own unique dimension. This is the same way that Jesse's introduced to Polaris to begin with, the being within Jesse's head, and the same thing that calls you here to the FBC in the first place. This object of power is why Dylan was taken in the first place. When Jesse and Dylan were younger, they lived in a small little town named Ordinary. This is where Jesse and Dylan had stumbled upon the projector in a junkyard, and they would mess around with it a little bit. They decided to show their friends, and let's just say this Scooby-Doo mystery did not go good for them. Eventually, the FBC stepped in order to take care of this situation. The FBC tried taking both children, but Jessie managed to run away and escape them, which is a guilt that she has lived with for 17 years. Fast forward to present day, Jessie decided to investigate the projector in the research center. She ends up finding out that the FBC ended up using the projector many times and eventually contained a being that they called Hedron, the source of the HRAs, which come to find out is Polaris's physical body. While discovering this, Jessie accidentally lets the Hiss in and they kill Hedron. Boom! That's the end of the game. End of credits, done. No, that's not really the end of the game, but I thought so. See, they kind of try and trick you at this point where they play these fake credits, and about a couple seconds, like 5-10 seconds later, the credits start messing up and it puts you in this weird dream sequence. I originally thought it was the end of the game, and I'm not gonna lie, I got pretty pissed and almost ended up turning my PlayStation off right then and there and just walking away. As I stated before, Jessie was put in this dream sequence that she kind of like relives the same day again and again and again. This is the Hiss trying to take over Jessie's mind. You know, trying to gain control. See what I did there? See what I did there? Oh yeah, you knew it was coming. You knew it was coming. Anyways, Jessie ends up pushing out the Hiss and finds Polaris's consciousness within herself. Yeah, I knew. Confusing, right? So was I. I had to look a fucking video up later to make sure I was getting this correct. It also gets revealed to you that the Hiss took over Trench, the previous director. They used Trench in order to open up the projector, which let them in. Once we find that out, it comes to our attention that Dylan broke out of his containment out of nowhere and is trying to use the projector to corrupt the board, aka the weird pyramid thing that we know fucking nothing about. So what do we decide to do? Well, with our powers getting an upgrade, we go kick our brother's ass and turn off the projector. And, you know, after the main battle, we find out Dylan is stuck in a coma and boom, that's the original ending of the game. I know, super anticlimactic. Let me tell you about it. Especially the whole Dylan part of the story. Like, you're telling me we went through that entire game, all that trouble, just for Dylan to be stuck in a coma? Are you serious? Now, the DLCs do add on bits of the story, like they end up eventually tying it to Alan Wake, and they do end up branching more on the board and kind of setting up a sequel, but that doesn't change the base ending of this game. I will say, don't get me wrong, this game was super fun to play. I mean, you're like 11 from a Stranger Things, dude. You're using telekinesis, you're throwing shit at things, you've got a gun that can shapeshift and turn into multiple different categories of guns, like a sniper, a pistol, a machine gun. So you're 11, but way more of a badass. I do like the story too, except for the whole Dylan stuff and them not really explaining the board. But, you know, starting to play Alan Wake and stuff while writing this script, a lot of the mysterious stuff is just, I think, part of what makes Remedy. So I'm gonna let it slide on this one. It still wasn't a bad game, but I definitely think when it comes to Dylan, they fumbled the ball there. With this being my first Remedy game, this is also one of the first gaming experiences where I feel like it's a movie. They have live action sequences. When you get to new places, they have a title screen like pop up. They trick you with like the credit thing. You know, the cinematography, it's not filmed, but it looks like it's filmed with an actual camera. You know, for that reason alone, I think you should give this game a shot. Like it's super unique in that aspect. It's on the PlayStation subscription for sure. I do know that. And it goes on sale all the time for like $10, which includes both DLCs, by the way. If you like a lot of weird and mysterious shit and you just want a video game that's super video gamey or feels like a movie, I think you should definitely give this a shot. You know, I had never played a Remedy game before, and it's not like other single player games I've played. This game very much knows that it's a game, but it really does try and make you feel like, hey, your experience is worthwhile. And it's just a good sci-fi shooter, mystery, and it's got some like horror aspects to it. It's not a horror game, and Alan Wake is their first like one that they're considering a survival horror, but it definitely has some of those kind of aspects in it. So if you're thinking about it or just want to experience a good time, you should definitely check out Control. This has been Sir UD. Peace.